And now to India and Pakistan, which are in talks about the next steps after a ceasefire restored calm to the border region of Jammu and Kashmir, which had seen its fiercest fighting for decades. That's what Delhi said were some early violations of the ceasefire. The Indian army said there'd been no reports of fighting on Sunday night. Pakistan denies any ceasefire violations. The truce between the two nuclear powers, announced by US President Donald Trump, followed 4 days of intense fighting. So let's explore some of these issues with Pakistan's ambassador to Germany, Saqlain Syedah. Welcome to DW, Ambassador. So now we have a ceasefire which seems to be largely holding, and we have talks between Pakistan and India continuing. What does Pakistan hope will come out of those talks?
Pakistan, as you know, first of all, good afternoon, and thank you for having me here today. For Pakistan, I think we believe in dialogue and we believe in engagement, a very constructive diplomatic engagement. And one thing that has come out of the ceasefire is that we should engage into a dialogue in which we can resolve disputed things like contentious issues, including Jammu and Kashmir and also the Indus Water Treaty.
Right.
For us, what we have been voicing out in the international media for the last 7 decades, that the Kashmir issue has to be decided in light of the UN Security Council resolutions. And now, strategically, I think this is a plus point for the people of Jammu and Kashmir that this issue has come to the forefront. And we have countries like United States also going for mediation on the issue. And we are looking forward to resolving not only this, but also other real issues that we have with India.
OK, so you see these latest talks as not being just about the immediate problem of these hostilities, but solving the underlying issues.
Yeah, this is not an immediate problem. It is an underlying issue for all our discussions and talks. It's Jammu and Kashmir.
It's always there.
Oh, it's always there. It's always been there. And we have been asking the international community to assist us in this area. And since August 2019, when they had really changed the status of the disputed area against the international law or the UN resolutions, I think we have been clamoring for the international community to come forward and help these people whose struggle for their inalienable right for self-determination has been, classified or said that it is actually terrorism by the Indian authorities.
And what is it about this dispute, or perhaps about your two countries, that means there is a need for international mediation? Why can't you sort it out between you?
Because this has already been taken to the United Nations. United Nations has a specific set of resolutions giving them the right for their self-determination, which has not been honored by India throughout. We have also honored the UN peacekeeping. First UN peacekeeping was on the border of the line of control. And we have been, having the monitoring and everything, and India has not been doing that. So we have, from the very onset, since our independence, have been going for the settlement of this issue since 1948, when the first war between Pakistan and India happened.
The announcement of this ceasefire appeared to come out of nowhere with Donald Trump's tweet. Tell us about the role played by the US and others in mediating this ceasefire.
I think I should really appreciate, friendly countries like US especially, who have been with us on board since this whole aggression by the Indian side was started. India has been accusing us for terrorism. They have been riding this bogey throughout, calling us that we are, without any proof, telling us that we are involved in some kind of terrorism on their soil. But US, since the time this aggression took a new turn, when they started bombing not only our civilian areas, but also our military installations, and we responded. We responded because, according to the UN Charter and the international law, we can do that for our own sovereignty. So when US started negotiating with us and with the Indians, I think it was almost a long night, I should say, and they were able to actually come up with the ceasefire understanding.
So two things out of that. One concerning the US mediation, and one concerning the targets that India claimed to have hit. India claims to have hit targets in Pakistan that were terrorist strongholds, that were terrorist training camps. Your response to that?
No, they were not terrorist camps. We have shown the proof on the media, unrefuted proof that they have actually targeted densely populated civilian areas. And then they have, targeted our main cities, our capital city, and then military bases also. There is no sign of any terrorist camp or any information about who was killed or what. They were civilian targets. And we have more than 46 people who have died in the process.
And on the US mediation, under previous administrations, they would have acted much earlier. The US waited 3 or 4 days. Well, there'd been certainly 4 days of hostilities before we got the announcement of US involvement. Why do you think they left it so long?
They must have a better answer for that. But I think, initially when this whole process started, we had been calling the international community for a neutral and transparent, inquiry on that Pahalgam terrorist attack. That did not happen. India did not agree to it. And they started the aggression on us. They started with missiles and drones. And only when we started responding for our own safety, for our citizens, for our infrastructure, military installations, I think at that point, the situation, international community also realized that it could be escalated furthermore by the Indian side.
If there is to be a lasting peace with India over Jammu and Kashmir, concessions are going to have to be made. What concessions can you see Pakistan making in order to secure
We have
peace?
to have a constructive, like I said, diplomatic dialogue. We have to have, how should I say, something concrete on the table from both sides when we come to the table that we have to resolve this dispute. That is the first instant. And from there we can move forward. So far, we are not even acknowledging the dispute. From our side, yes. From the Indian side, they consider it as their part. So they are not actually even considering it as an international disputed area. They're internalizing an external issue which has been on the UN arena for the last 7 decades.
Okay. The way you tell it, and of course you're putting your country's interests to the fore, Pakistan has been very much victimised by India in this. But I was watching an interview with your defence minister, Khawaja Asif, who last month he was denying any links to the group that carried out the Pahalgam attacks. He did, however, appear to concede that Pakistan had harboured links to terrorist groups over many decades. So does your country have a credibility problem when it comes to claim and counterclaim of military interference?
No. I think this is something that has been India has been maligning Pakistan with. They have been using...
no, this is coming from Pakistan's defence minister.
It is coming from the 80s when we were actually fighting a war.
This was last month.
Last month,
April,
yes.
Yeah.
But what time that he's referring to is the time when we were actually joined with the US forces to fight the Russian invasion in Afghanistan. So it was at that time-specific time when we were working with them. But at the moment, we don't have any of the outfits there. We are actually been fighting for terrorism since 9/11 from both sides. The western border and the eastern border. And at times, the eastern border actually starts proxies from the western side with us. And we have proof of that. We have Yadav, which we caught in Balochistan, who has been, where India has also agreed and said, that they are actually involved in Balochistan. This has also been said by our former foreign minister in his interview. So you see, India has already agreed to that as well. And we have even caught one of their agents in Balochistan.
Thank you so much for joining us and talking us through that. Saqlain Syedah, Pakistani ambassador to Germany. Thank you so much.
Thank you.